Hello and welcome to Wisdom Trek. This is Guthrie Chamberlain and I'm your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 7-day-a-week, 7 Minutes of Wisdom podcast. This is day 250 of our trek, and today we will continue to remain in camp as we search for nuggets of wisdom found in the book of Proverbs. Yesterday we finished exploring chapter 7, verses 21 through 27, which was a story of a naive young man who made several unwise life choices leading him toward the paths of destruction. Since each day's trek builds on the previous one, if you do miss any of the Wisdom Trek episodes, please go to wisdom-trek.com to listen to them and to read the daily journal. We are recording our podcast from our studio at Home 2 in Charlotte, North Carolina. It certainly has been a rainy couple of days, and we do have some localized flooding in the area. In addition to our usual client workload, we are working on the final formatting and proofing of Volume 1 of the Wisdom Trek Journal. The first volume will provide us with the guideline and template for the other volumes, so hopefully creating subsequent volumes will be much quicker. Our objective is to produce one volume for each month. So far, we have completed 8 months of Wisdom Trek, so we have some catching up to do. As mentioned on the previous days, Paul and I are also refining all the daily concepts along with worksheets for your Life Plan Blueprint, which we covered in January, and we're assembling it into an easy-to-use workbook. I'll let you know when both of these projects are completed so that you can download them. Today we will remain at camp, sitting around the campfire, far away from the lights and the noise of everyday life. It provides us an opportunity to relax and listen to the sounds of the woods. This is especially true during the night when an entirely new set of sound emerges. We need to practice the listening to what is important. As we are listening, it provides us the opportunity to consider the words of a woman called Wisdom and Understanding in Proverbs chapter 8 and 9. The title of this section is called Wisdom Calls for a Hearing. This is the second of Solomon's 3 great poems in chapters 7 through 9. Wisdom, represented as a woman, gives her speech to all people. We all will do well to listen to her and hear what she has to say. So today let's read chapter 8, verses 1 through 5. Listen as wisdom calls out. Hear as understanding raises her voice. On the hilltop along the road, she takes her stand at the crossroads. By the gates of the entrance of the town, on the road leading in, she cries aloud. I call to you, all you people. I raise my voice to all people. You, simple people, use good judgment. You, foolish people, show some understanding. In verse 1, there are not 2 women here. Wisdom is one woman, but she has 2 names. Her names are Wisdom and Understanding. This is because wisdom is the same as understanding. Right decisions and accurate knowledge are also an indication of wisdom. Wisdom ultimately comes from God, but it does not come immediately. We need to learn to be wise. This is a slow process. Each day we should learn new lessons. God teaches us in different ways. Sometimes He teaches us from the Bible. Sometimes He uses other people to teach us. Sometimes He uses life experiences, nature, or other methods to teach us. The concept of gaining wisdom slowly is the whole premise for Wisdom Trek. It takes many years of life experiences and God teaching us to obtain wisdom. I still pray every day for wisdom because you can never be all wise. That is reserved only for God. The really neat aspect of gaining wisdom is that God promises to provide us with wisdom. All we have to do is ask. In James chapter 1 verses 5 through 6 it says, If you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and He will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking, but when you ask Him, be sure that your faith is in God alone. So we see that as the solution. Need wisdom? Ask God. Let's take our journey back to the time when Solomon wrote this poem so that we can understand the context or setting for the woman Wisdom. The title of the poem is called Wisdom Calls for a Hearing. This is in reference to a court hearing or trial where a lawyer would present their case. The reference to the city gate in verse 3 is an important reference for the context and setting of the poem. In the culture of the day when Proverbs was written, and even in many cultures of today, the city gate was or is very important. Besides being part of the city's protection against invaders, city gates were places of central activity in Bible times. It was at the city gates that important business transactions were made, court was convened, and public announcements were heralded. Accordingly, it is natural for the Bible to frequently speak of sitting at the gates, or the activities that took place at the gate. In Proverbs chapter 1, verse 21, wisdom is personified in a similar passage. She calls out to the crowd along the main street, to those who gather in front of the city gate. So we see in today's passage, for wisdom to spread her word to the maximum number of people, wisdom took it to the city gates. In addition to the actual trial being conducted at the city gates, there would be those individuals who would shout important announcements about upcoming events or trials. Think about this as a town crier. They would position themselves on the hilltops, major crossroads, and the roads leading into the city to make sure that anyone who was interested would be able to find out about these important events. This was their form of tweets or Facebook postings, Google postings or email, and dozens of other means that we spread the word via our modern-day social media platforms. Wisdom's upcoming hearing presentation is so important that she wanted to use all means available to get the word out to everyone. She wanted her message to go viral, we might say. In verse 4, the woman Wisdom calls out to everyone. She raises her voice to all people. This hearing was too important for anyone to miss. In verse 5, she encourages even the simple and the foolish people, who would usually not desire wisdom, to use good judgment and to show understanding. I mentioned on previous days of the Wisdom Trek that Solomon uses special meanings for the words simple and foolish in the book of Proverbs. The fool is proud and lazy. He does not want to serve God because he hates wisdom. He prefers to do evil things. If you try to teach a fool, he will only hate you. He will only learn if God changes his heart. The simple person, in contrast, does not know right from wrong. He has not learned to be wise. He chooses to do evil things because everyone's doing it. But you can teach a simple person. A simple person can learn to be wise. Wisdom's hearing is so important that she feels that no one should be excluded. The rich and the famous, the poor and the outcast, the simple and the foolish, everyone is together at the city gates immediately to hear what Wisdom has to proclaim. So I'll ask you today, are you ready and willing to listen to Wisdom's hearing before the gate? Once you learn what is right, just, and fair, you will be without excuse. Tomorrow we will remain in camp and continue in Chapter 8 as Wisdom begins to present her case to us. So encourage your family and friends to join us and then come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. That will finish our podcast for today. As you enjoy these daily doses of wisdom, I encourage you to help us promote Wisdom Trek in the following 4 ways. First, leave us feedback about the podcast at wisdom-trek.com so that we can continually improve. Second, on your smartphone, subscribe to iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, SoundCloud, or Stitcher so that the podcast will be downloaded to you automatically each day. Third, on your computer, or if you have an iPhone or iPad, leave us a rating and review on iTunes. This will help us to gain exposure so others will join us on our Wisdom Trek. And fourth, most importantly, please share Wisdom Trek with your family and friends through email, Facebook, Twitter, or in person as you meet with them, and invite them to come along with us each day. The journal for today's trek can be found at wisdom-trek.com. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, you are my friend, as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. As we take this trek together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.